Yo, what's up everyone? Patrick here, welcome back. In this next video, we're asked to simplify the product for each of these here. So starting with number 1, we got 4x squared over 7y to the 4 times x to the 4, y to the 6. So for this one, what we can do is actually, first I'm going to take this, put it over 1 to show clearly we're going to multiply these two for the numerator and then multiply these two for the denominator. Before we do that though, notice we can get restrictions here. Remember, the denominator can't be 0. And what would make the denominator 0? A y value of 0 because of this y over 4, right? If we have 7, 0 to the power 4, this whole denominator would be 0. This denominator here is always 1, so we can't get a restriction there. So here, the restriction would be y cannot equal 0, like that, before we go further and simplify. So now what we could do, we can multiply these two, so we'd have 4, there's like a 1 in front, 1 times 4 is 4, x to the 2 times x to the 4, those are exponents with the same base, so we would add, right? If we have x to the 2 times x to the 4, this would be like x to the 2 plus 4. So this would be x to the 6. There's no y here, so we would just have the y to the 6. And then this would be all over 1 times this is just that left, as is. Then what we want to do is we want to simplify this here. Now 4 over 7, that's not going to simplify. Notice the x to the 6, there's no other x value in the denominator, so that would stay. But we have y to the 6 over y to the 4, and that would actually simplify to y to the 2. Because y to the 6 over y to the 4, if you want to show this visually, there's like 6 y's up here. And then there's like 4 down here. If you want a visual way to see it in your mind, so boom, 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 boom. And then we have 2 y's left at the top. Right? If it was y to the 4 over y to the 6, these two would be inverted and there would be 2 y's left at the bottom, so it'd be 1 over y squared, like that. Right? Or if you subtracted these, we'd have y to the negative 2, which ends up being that using the exponent rules. All right, so this here ends up being the final answer. It actually doesn't simplify. Another format this could be in is they can maybe put the fraction in front like that. All right, so either of these is the answer for number 1. Now what about number 2? We got 3x to the 9 over 20y to the 6 times 4y to the 8 over 9x to the 4. So before multiplying these, notice we could get restrictions. Y can't be 0, because it'd make this denominator 0, and then in this case, x can't be 0 either. There's an x in the denominator in the original question. So 2 restrictions in this case. And then from here, what we can do is same thing we did before, multiply the numerators and denominator. You could simplify here a little bit, like you could say 3 over 9, 1 over 3, 1 over 5. I'm just going to multiply everything. Because if you start crossing too much out, you could start missing stuff. So 3 times 4 is 12, x to the 9, y to the 8, those do not simplify to anything. They're different bases, so we'll keep them separate. Over 20 times 9 is 180. And then we'd have x to the 4, y to the 6, like that. And then from here, what we can do is simplify this now. 12 over 180, what does that simplify to? 1 over 15. If we divide 12 by 12, it's 1. Divide 180 by 12, it is 15. And now we have x to the 9 over x to the 4, which would leave us with 5 x's at the top, 8 x's at the top, 8 y's at the top, and then 6 y's at the bottom. That would leave us with 2 y's at the top. Another way this could have been shown is x to the 5, y to the 2, all over 15. There's like this imaginary one in front there, that one right there. So either of those formats is the final answer for number 2, and then those are the restrictions.